share my screen already. Sorry, please. Okay, my screen is coming up. You guys can see my screen already, right? Okay, great. So the topic we're treating today, like I said, is why it is difficult for you to land a high-paying job in tech as an entry-level professional. So before we get started, I remember asking at the start of this session if anyone on this call so far is working in tech, and just one person out of everybody is currently working in tech. And then I asked how many people, like, indicates if you gained a tech skill. And again, everybody has gained a tech skill except two people, right? So that means everybody has gained the tech skill, but yet to get the job. So in essence, this is a perfect session for you. So I would like you to type in the comments what the challenge has been like. What has been, I have my eyes on it. I'll keep, speaking, but I'd just like you to let me know what has been that common challenge when it comes to getting a job. What's the feedback you always get when you get them, or if you get them? What's been the challenge? Is it, I don't want to put the words, in your mouth. I just want to hear from you directly. So what has been that common issue with you applying and trying to get the job? I will really like to know. So I'll just take like one or two people's responses before I move on. But please, you can still keep typing, as that would still, help a couple of people, because who knows, we might address it if it's not even already on my slide, right? So this session is put together by Amdari, and for those who don't know Amdari yet, Amdari is actually that platform that helps you gain real world experience, real world work experience, right? By helping you work on projects. What I mean by that is we provide you with real world projects from real businesses that you can work on. So they provide us with their data sets. In this case, they are not just random practice projects. They are projects that you work on, and at the end of the day, you give a business impact, and at the end of the day, it makes you more solid, right, as a candidate applying for jobs. So I asked a question, and then one thing I see here is someone responded that they ask for something like 5 years of experience, and I just mentioned how Amdari also help data professionals to gain experience. I don't know if anybody is familiar with a particular concept that says there is actually a way you would work within a year that will amount to working, that would amount to like gaining 5 years of experience. So it depends on how immersive you are. That's that year in the work that you do, that by the time you look at it, it looks like 5 years of experience. Is anybody familiar with that concept? If you are, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not, give me a thumbs down. So there's this concept around, okay, you're not. So there's a way you would work. Guys, I'd still like to see more reactions, okay? Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. There's so much to learn in this session. Okay, I have a couple of thumbs up, so you guys can see that it's a very it's not popular, but it's a concept that is known to a certain extent. So there is this concept is like you work immersively and deeply on projects, multiple projects in that year. That means you're probably working extra hours, one, you're probably working multiple jobs, two, you're probably working across diverse industries, like you're doing a lot at a time. And by the time you put all of these projects, tasks, and responsibilities and experiences together, and you compare it to someone who was just working one job, or someone who was not working extra hours or anything like that, it would really amount to you working for like 4 years or 3 years or even more. And this is just you working in a year. So it depends on how you decide to like devote your time within that year. And it's one of the tricks, trust me, that helps. So it's like I've already started this session, to be honest, but I'll get back to this as we proceed. If I forget, make sure you remind me. But yeah, so this actually just came to mind when I saw this response from one of the people, that's Adebayo, where he said they ask for like 5 years of experience. Trust me, there is a way you can work in a year and gain that experience. We treat that, like I said. So Amdari helps you gain work experience by providing you with real world projects that you can work on, or providing you with an internship opportunity, which is the Rave by Amdari platform. So this is also some of the things that we will properly flesh out towards the end of this session. Okay, so this is what we do at Amdari. We're bridging the gap between theoretical learning and real world experience. We provide you with end-to-end practical and hands-on projects in data analytics, data science, data engineering, business analysis, cybersecurity, project management, HR analytics, and financial analytics. Remember at the start of this session, one thing I asked again is if you've gained the skill, so what is the field you gained the skill in? And if you remember what everybody typed, it's pretty much in all of these fields that I just typed that we have right here. So that's to tell you how this has been a very intentional move and journey for us, right? So what are the things we'll be treating today? The different facts about job search, job application strategies, the Amdari work experience internship, and also a special offer for you. So a brief introduction about myself. My name is Omomi Victoria Samson, for those who are just joining the Amdari session for the first time. And I am a business and tech executive with over 5 years experience in the industry. I have worked as a software engineer, marketing specialist, product manager, and I have a thing for tech entrepreneurship. I have a proven track record when it comes to delivering impactful results across the different industries that I have worked in. So I've worked in industries like edtech, film tech, and marketing. And I'm very passionate when it comes to building products with technology, products that solve a problem, a major problem. And that's why Amdari is very passionate and dear to me, because beyond the projects that we have on the platform for you to gain your work experience, we also have a couple of other things like the portfolio website, which you're able to have access to for free for life, as long as you are one of our Amdari users, right? So whether via internship or via the other projects that we have on the platform. Like I said, there is so much more to learn about the platform Amdari, which I'll be sharing towards the end of this session. All right, thank you very much, everybody. So first question that people would naturally want to ask is, landing a job has been a challenge? Again, thankfully, I asked the question at the start of this, and 98% of everyone on this call have the tech skill but have not been able to land the job. That means landing a job has been a challenge. Why has it been so difficult? Because you have the skills, right? Now, this is an information I wish I knew about when I was starting out, but then we learn every day, and as we learn, it's very important to also pass the knowledge to others who might benefit from it. Maybe others who are just starting out, or others who are at that point or stage that we have already passed, right? That we've been able to scale through. So that's why Amdari hosts sessions like this, because we know that at different points in time, people are learning tech skills, and all of these people learning tech skills at all of these points need some form of mentorship, guidance, or clarity as to how to navigate the job market. Because once you're done learning the skill, you're thrown into the job market. What's the next thing to do? How do you navigate the job market? How do you get the skill? How do you get the job? Where do you look? All of these are things that have proven to be a challenge. So when you get thrown into the job market, please be rest assured that you're not the only one in that job market. By you, I mean entry level category. Entry level category is not the only people in the job market. The people in the job market include experienced people as well, who have been laid off from a previous job. Like after working 5 years, 6 years, or even more, they get laid off, especially people who work with big tech companies like the fans, right? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and the likes, and Apple. Yeah. So these guys also do layoffs sometimes. Now you're in the job market with people like this. what chance do you even stand, right? Do you stand a chance? How do you get the job and all of that? I'd let you know how to start your journey, how to give yourself a better chance, because you can actually provide yourself with that better chance. Because again, the competition is fierce. It's not fierce because you're competing against entry level like yourself in the job market. You're actually competing even against experienced people who were laid off or not. Some people would naturally take a gap year from their job, or be like, oh, I want to just take time off, maybe learn more, maybe see the world more, go on vacation and all of that. Maybe trust fund babies, or people who have those bankrolling them, or people who have worked so hard and saved a lot, right? And they feel like, okay, I think I need 1 year off, and then let me just rejuvenate lost energy, learn something new, unlearn what I've learned before, whatever reason. You are competing with all these categories of people. That's why the competition is that fierce, and the expectation is very high. Now, the expectation is high, and it also depends on the type of organization you are applying for. I'd love you to follow me closely, right? It depends on the organization you are applying for. If you're applying for a company like one of the fangs, or maybe it's not even under the fangs. By the way, again, fangs stands for Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. They are the big five, the top tech companies and all of that. But then we have other ones even after them, right? So one of the best ways, I'm starting already with my tips. When applying for jobs, please, again, let's take out fangs in this picture right now. We have big tech companies in your environment. Companies like Flutterwave. It's a very big tech company. It's not as big as the likes of Facebook and the likes, but it's still big. So you might be so ambitious and decide to apply. It's not a bad thing to be ambitious and want to like apply for those. But I am saying, as entry level, while you're applying to those jobs, please make sure that you're also applying to startups. Trust me, applying to a startup company is your best shot at getting a job. If you've not been doing that, like I said, this session is going to give you all of the little details that you are missing out, and that is causing you to still be unemployed at an entry level, right? Apply to startups, companies that are just a year old, less than a year old, 2 years old, and the likes. You stand a better chance with your little or no experience, or with internship experience. You can get jobs with those companies. But then it's still tricky with no experience at all, right? So I would still advise, regardless, just make sure you still gain experience by working on projects and working as an intern, those two things. But we'll get to that briefly. So like I said earlier, as someone who has been there, the reason why we have sessions like this is to make sure that we show you the things we experienced, things we did to navigate the space and get a better shot, and how it has been. For me, let me tell you, or let me summarize my journey. I started as an intern when I was in 300 level. I interned as a software engineer. After that, I got to apply to what's it called now? A startup. And I got the job immediately just with my internship experience. This startup went ahead to become one of the big companies out of sub-Saharan Africa. Guess what? We're like the founding team members, because it was a startup. We had the energy. We wanted to prove a point. We wanted to showcase that we could do the job. We built in public. We made so much noise. As entry level professionals, we would post about our achievements at work on LinkedIn. It was helping us build credibility, putting us in the faces of our next employer. And that was how I climbed the career ladder. After that first job, which I got with my internship experience with a startup company, I got a job with a company that has been existed for over 13 years. And that's how the journey kept going rather. So please, if you've been applying majorly for companies that are not startups, please, it's time for you to also start applying to startup companies. So before I proceed, if there's anybody here who has applied to a startup before, give me a thumbs up. If you have not applied to a startup, give me a thumbs down. So you've been applying to startups, please give me a thumbs up. You've not been applying. Okay, P Lam has not been applying. Betty has been applying. Samson has been applying. Folashade has not. IB Solution has been. Okay, please keep the reactions coming. All right, Mohammed has not. Okay, we have quite a number of people who haven't. Okay, now that's your number one tip. Like I said, please keep applying for these jobs. Before I move to my next slide, thank you. So a lot of people have actually not been applying. So I guess that's a very good tip that you would find very useful. Because I, again, like I said, I love to share the knowledge that I feel that you might not be tapping into yet. So it's very important for you to take advantage, make the most. And this is how sessions we also host would add more value to the people we have on the call. So my next, before I proceed to my next slide, I'd like to ask, why do you think getting a job has been difficult in tech? Just type it, you know, like just type it. I have it in my next slide. I just want to be sure we are in sync, right? So why do you think, not based on your experience now, right? But based on, not just based on your experience, like I said, but general knowledge. Why do you think it's been difficult for people to get jobs in tech? Okay. Olashade says competition. Sholademi says saturation of the industry. Awesome. Thank you very much. I think these are very valid. Yes. Progress says your portfolio. Guys, we're in sync, like I said. Progress says your portfolio. IB says your CV. Uche says your competition. Benjamin says competition and saturation. Okay, please keep it coming, guys. But like I said, we are very much in sync. Reasons why getting jobs has been a challenge for tech professionals. That's what I want us to take a look at. Lack of experience is the number one on my list. Weak portfolio is the number two. Inadequate networking, guys. People often overlook this. Yes, Mohammed, lack of confidence, it is often led to by lack of, experience, because I won't be confident if I've not really worked on a lot of projects. What do I want to talk about? And because I'm just probably coming up with things from my head, I would fidget a bit or something. So that's how you start to sense lack of confidence. Now, unpolished resumes and applications. Someone mentioned CV. Unfamiliarity with hiring process. So I deliberately skipped some very common ones, like the ones that were listed initially by I'm trying to check now. Folashade and also Samuel, which is saturation of the industry. Like I said, very valid. I deliberately skipped them because I love to share new knowledge, right? And if I wanted to put everything in this one slide, it would be a lot. So I know that would still touch base on other things. The slide is just to give us key points that we shouldn't omit. Now, people often overlook networking, and they overlook the fact that you need to be familiar with hiring process. If you're not familiar, it's like you have to hack the process or the system. Now, and this is why. I don't know how many of us are familiar with cybersecurity. I know there's someone here who indicated that he has gained the skill as a cybersecurity expert. Please, if you're still here on the call and you can hear me, you can just give me thumbs up when what I'm saying is in alignment with what you've learned. In cybersecurity, right? When you're working on we have three types of hackers that you can actually be as a cybersecurity expert. It can either be white hat hacker, black hat hacker, or gray hat. Please, am I right or wrong? Just give me a thumbs up. White hat, black hat, and gray hat. Awesome. Thank you very much. So now the black hat are the bad guys. Obviously, from the name you can already know, right? And the white hat are the ones that typically work with organizations as cybersecurity experts and all of that, in order to make sure that your systems are not vulnerable, to make sure that it's not penetrable by malicious people or malwares that they use and everything like that. So for them to be able to work effectively as white hat hackers and block any form of attack that the black hat guys are trying to have on your system or trying to hack into your system or penetrate, they need to do something. they need to do the same thing that the black hat hackers are doing, which is they need to use the same tool, the same process, the same approach. Guys, am I right or wrong? You're a cybersecurity expert here. Please give me a thumbs up if I'm exactly. You need to do the same thing the black hat hackers are doing. So your process is not going to be different in any way that, oh, okay, because I'm a white hat hacker, our tools are different, the process is different, this is how I do it. No, it's still the same process. It's just the intent that is different. Now, my intention is to protect the system, but their intention is to harm the system. That's the black hat. Their is to harm, penetrate, steal information, whatever the malicious intent is. So the only difference between white hat and black hat is majorly that intention. Of course, you can already tell from gray, it's a blend of black and white. So yeah. So it's the same thing with you trying to apply for jobs. You need to be familiar with the hiring process. Now, think like the recruiter. Start to imagine things they are looking out for. Don't think alone as someone who is trying to apply for the job. You will most likely not get the job because now you feel you're prepared, you feel you have the skill, and it's a common mistake that people who are trying to get the job make every time. It's just like one-way traffic for them. Oh, let me just work on my CV. Oh, let me just, I have gained the skill and that's it. There is that aspect of ignoring behavioral interview question. There is that aspect of ignoring technical questions. Some will even focus on the technical question and then they are not familiar with behavioral. And behavioral questions are trick questions. They are questions you typically answer with the STAR approach. Does anyone here know the STAR approach? Just type what's the STAR, the full meaning of that for me. So it's typically something like that people focus on. Oh, I have the technical skill. I just need to know how to answer my questions right. The tools I use to solve this problem, the tools I use to solve that problem, the tools I work with, the platforms I use in analyzing my data and everything like that. They just focus on that. Do you know that there's something called personality hire? And that's because, and that's when a recruiter hires you just by falling in love with your personality. And that's only possible with behavioral interview. And I kid you not, there is a thing called personality hire. And when I saw something one time where someone was like, me, when my work bestie asked me the meaning of KPI, that's an indication that we're hired for, we are like personality hires. So like myself and my work bestie are personality hires because they missed out on the other work-related terminologies that they should know. But yeah, joke aside. Okay, yeah, so thank you, Dennis and Benjamin. So typically you would want to talk about your scenario-based questions with situation, task, action, and the result. But there is always something missing in this. And that's where again, it's very important to unlearn whatever we've learned. This approach of STAR is not wrong, but there is a better approach to this. We'll get to that, definitely. There's a better approach to it. So we talked about the reasons why getting a job has been challenging. And like I said, I deliberately omitted some so that I would make room for some aspects that people naturally ignore. And that is the inadequate networking and familiarity with the hiring process. You need to think like the recruiter. You need to know what they typically want you to have. Now, let's look at the key process of landing a job before we move on to what we've discussed, before we move on to breaking it down one by one. Now, networking. Again, people overlook this, right? And you're not supposed to do that because the benefit you can get from referral is not something you should underestimate. People often think that referrals are not. See, I can count the number of people I've referred for jobs this year. And you'd be hearing something like, because Omawumi referred you, there is no need for much interview. There was someone who reached out to me on LinkedIn. He needed me to come on board their company. And I was like, oh, I'm, engaged with the company I'm working on right now, but I can refer people to you. And the people I referred to this person, he literally said, because you guys came from this person, we won't be doing much interviews, but we will just, get to know you, familiarize, let you know the needed things, and then we move on to the next stage, right? So people feel like, oh, okay, I don't need to network. The people I referred are people I got to know either through an event, either through my previous place of work, or yeah, previous place of work, event, or anywhere at all, maybe a community event, tech meetup, or anything. I have built connections with people like that, right? So it is very important for you to network. Now, when I say network, I'm not saying network anyhow. And this is what I mean. If you don't have quality people in your network, the opportunities you would get will not be quality. So it's not about knowing 1,000 people. It's about knowing 10 quality people. It's not about knowing 20 people. It's about knowing 2 quality people. So be intentional about the type of people you build a connection with. Now, I'm not just calling it networking, I'm calling it connection. Be intentional about the type of people you build a connection with, right? And like there is a very popular there was this phrase I saw from Elliot Garlock where he said something around, even before a company advertises a job opening, they might already have a pre-selected candidate. Again, speaking from experience, this is not a lie. This is not a lie. We've hired at Amdari. Has anybody ever seen a job opening by Amdari? Like, you've seen a job opening. If you've seen it, will be one, and I know which one it is. Like, have you seen a job opening like, oh, we're looking for a data scientist, a data analyst, and all of that? Like, can you exactly? So you might wonder how companies like this hire. I think the only job opening we've put out was social media manager. But the more strategic ones, I kid you not, have come through recommendations. Literally all. The only role we put out as flyer, and even the person we ended up working with, was still this person saw the flyer from another person who posted it, right? So that's how it works. So you need to know quality people. The connection you build should not just be, oh, they said we should network, then you go around and network with different people who will not add value, or who are not going to be in alignment with your career goals, with where you want to be in the next couple of years, and things like that. So that alignment is very important. Sometimes it might not be a direct referral from this person, but just this person posting, and then you see that opportunity on that person's post, and the next thing, you jump on it, and maybe one day you're sharing your success story and you're like, it was actually a friend that posted it. I took my I shot my I shot my shot and I got it, right? So things like that. So when it comes to networking, your connection needs to be very strong, not random, right? So that's why part of your processes that you should not omit is the aspect of networking. And there is a fun fact as well that I would love you to know about, because it's also very important for you to understand the role that networking and referrals play in people landing a job. And that is 30 to 50% of hires are actually from referrals. And when people refer you, your chances of already getting that job is way over 40%. Like, you're being referred. So now the rest is like, it's now up to you to stay in the job based on how you perform. I have referred you, and referral always gives you the access in straight, but it's not going to keep you in, right? So yeah. Now moving on to another thing that you need to do to land a job, your CV or resume has to be tailored to the job you're applying for, and it needs to showcase your skills and how you stand out. Now, you can't say too much or everything or showcase all of your awesomeness in your CV, but you can do so much and make sure that these people who are reading your CV or who are going through your CV are impressed enough to call you back for an interview. So don't go the lazy route, but go the intentional route. If you go the lazy route, chances are you will not be called back, right? Okay, so if you go the lazy route, chances are you will not be called back. But if you go the intentional route, you would get that call for an interview. Now, how do you tailor your CV? I'm also going to be showing you a CV sample on how you can pretty much stand out, right? And most times there is another thing you need to know when it comes to applying for jobs, right? Your CV is not going to just be something that gives you that what's it called? Your experience and CV is pretty much not the only thing that helps you land the job. It gets you the interview. Now, when you now get into the interview, how do you land the job? Your personality and the value that you bring to the table. Remember that this is where they ask you behavioral questions, technical questions, and this is where maybe your hire is going to end up being a personality hire. It's still a good thing, trust me, as long as you're willing to learn on the job and get better and all that. You want them to fall in love with you, right? So that's one of the things that you need to bear in mind. You need to make sure that when you get into that interview, apart from the fact that your CV has made them give you that attention and you're now in with them, the next thing you want to do is get the job by impressing them convincingly, not just with your scenario based questions, but with the star approach that you take. Now, I'm going to break down the how you should get started before you should move on to your star approach response, right? So tailor your CV, but know that your CV is not enough to land you the job. The next thing is when the CV goes so well, sorry, when the interview goes so well, you most likely will get to the point where they're asking you, so what's your salary expectation? You need to know how to negotiate properly. Do your research before you go into that interview. Now, negotiation and them asking you your salary expectation does not mean you have already gotten the job. It's just them still going back to weigh in comparison to the others who got to the stage that you have also gotten to. Okay, who are we going to go ahead with? Some people will select based on people who have, like maybe 4 or 3 of you happens to qualify based on, like, you have the same mark, the same grade, they are as impressed with everybody as they are with the other person. And then the next thing is that they want to know who they will decide to go ahead with. Trust me, they use other factors to also decide. Like if they're trying to go with, oh, we don't have so much to pay for this role, let's go with this person. He's as good as the others. So that's why your research is very important. And how you negotiate the salary is also very important, right? So when you're having a conversation with them, one thing I always do is to let them know that there is room for negotiation even after this call. But based on the research I have done, I will tell them the price, my salary expectation based on my research. So you need to do market research. How much do people in your level typically earn for this role, right? Research the company as well. Take a look at how their staff members, look outwardly. You'll be able to tell a company that pays its staff members so well and a company that doesn't really have that much yet. You might also want to know if their brand is that type of brand that is in revenue so much. By that, I mean, there are some companies that are not even cash flow positive yet. Some have not even broken even. Some have not gotten funding. You want to have all this information. Again, that was why I was very particular about the hiring process. You need to understand so much about the company. Do your due diligence. Don't just jump into applying for jobs without knowing what you should know about the company you're applying to. So that's how you also better negotiate for a salary, right? Now, the craziest thing about job search is something I really want to touch base on. There are a lot of things in the job market that are subjective. Trust me, today, an employer would show you a particular CV and tell you this is the accurate one. Like a hiring manager in this case will tell you this is the accurate one. And then another one will say, oh, because this is missing a professional summary. Nah, it's not the accurate one, right? So people have subjective opinions. So it's now going to boil down to what exactly do these people want? Now, like I said, do your due diligence. Understand hiring process. People overlook this. I will keep stressing on this understand hiring process so that even after this session, you might want to go Google it or watch YouTube videos on how to understand a company's hiring process. It is very important, but trust me, this session is already going to be all encompassing. But just in case you're still like inquisitive and want to know more, you can definitely do that. Or you can book like a clarity session again with us. We'll be sending out emails regarding how you can book, and you can do that. So, as I was saying, right, you need to understand, you need to do your due diligence when you are trying to apply for a job in a particular company. A lot of people would apply for jobs without understanding the company they're applying into, or the typical the core value of the company, what the company does, and everything like that. You can even take your time, guys, to study the CEO or the founder of the company. I have done this a lot of times when I'm applying for jobs. I would look up the founder, not just maybe on Instagram, on Google. If the person is on Instagram, I'll check them up. If the person is on Twitter, if the person is on Instagram, because information that you can't get on Instagram, you'd get on LinkedIn. Information that you can't get on LinkedIn, you'd get on Twitter. And if this person is big enough and they have their profile and some publications on Google, read about them. You'd be able to tell the caliber of this person, so that when you apply for a job, you will not already assume that maybe because this is your field, you're applying as a data analyst, this person might not be so vast. What if the person has a background in data analytics? You want to impress the person. You want to go above and beyond in impressing the person. You need to know if the person has a knowledge of the industry you're applying into, so that when you tailor your CV, you also do it in alignment with expectation. The same thing goes for their hiring manager. Please look up the hiring manager. Is this person with the skills of a HR analyst, right? You want to know that. Don't just assume. I remember a job I applied for one time, and I realized that the HR was actually a law graduate, and she practiced as a lawyer before she transitioned into HR. I had that information about that person. Then I looked up the CEO. She's female, and I realized that beyond the work she did, she was doing with her company, she was a member of the board of one of the biggest banks in Nigeria. That tells you how smart this person is. And I saw how this person has also worked with other big brands as a board member, advisor, and all of that. That already says that this person has a wealth of knowledge. Before I got into an interview with these folks, and I got the job pretty much, because there was that aspect of behavioral interview question as well. I learned about what they were doing. So, like I said, you need to know all of this about the person who owns the business you're applying into, about the person who is like the gatekeeper, and that is the HR. That's the person who lets you in or lets people out, right? You need to have all of this knowledge. That would make it easy for you to know how to tailor your CV. You want to impress them. You want them to fall in love with you. So what one recruiter will praise as a must-have on your resume, another might use as a reason to disqualify you, right? So that's why it's very important for you to do your due diligence. So please, guys, make sure that you take that into consideration. Please, if you're taking notes and jotting things down, can you give me a thumbs up? If you're taking notes, you're jotting things down, you're gaining value, please give me a thumbs up. I want to see the thumbs up. I'm seeing people raising their hand, guys. So so Mary, I know that's you giving me a thumbs up. Thank you guys for for giving me the thumbs up. I just need to know that you guys are getting as much from this session as possible. So one of the key things that you need to do when tailoring your CV, you can use AI. Right, we have the likes of ChatGPT, and this is a data I pulled from the internet, which is around how cutting edge job seekers see an advantage to using ChatGPT. You can see how they use the word cutting edge. Cutting edge means you're not average, and you're a job seeker, but you're still not average, you're over the top, right? Because whatever you do at the point of applying for a job can either make or mar your chances of getting that job. So you need to be a forward-thinking job seeker, because these are the category of people who leverage AI in their job searches. So you can see, according to this February survey for this year 2024, we have like over 1,000 current and recent job hunters who 46% of them are using chatbots to craft their resume or their cover letter. right? So they use it so that they can take out the guesswork. And this is what you would do, guys. All you just have to do, and I'll show you how you can do it, right? It's very easy and all that. I just mentioned how you can look up the recruiter of the company you're applying to. By recruiter, I mean HR. And then I spoke about how you can look up the CEO of that company, right? Now, one of the things you would do is to look at their bio, right? And type into ChatGPT and tell it you are an experienced career coach with over 20 years of experience based on the following LinkedIn profile. Could you please generate a summary of this person's career, accomplishments, and highlight their top 3 achievements? Now, this is you trying to like sum up things about this founder, right? Or the HR. So when ChatGPT does that summary for you, you tell it to provide as much detail as possible, including relevant experiences, skills, and accomplishments that showcases the person's skills and expertise. Like, and remember what I said earlier about expertise as it relates to you applying for a job. Now, I am applying for a job. Sorry, let me take this one. Yeah, I'm applying for a job. I don't know if this person, I'm applying for a job as a data analyst. I don't know if the founder has a data analytics background or not. I just assume that, oh, you know, for whatever reason, because remember, founders employ people to do jobs that they are not naturally skilled at. So as a founder now, I might be a data analyst. Remember, I need a website to promote what I do. I can't develop a website, right? I don't know how to develop a website. So it is important for me to hire a developer. If I'm hiring the developer, I don't have the knowledge of this person. I don't, right? The person can come into the interview and tell me anything. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. Because it's not my field, I will buy literally whatever this person is saying. But I might be that inquisitive founder who just naturally never chased a career in software development, but still has an idea or knowledge because I have a vast knowledge base. I have interacted with people who are software engineers before, and you don't know if I have some questions that I might ask you relating to that. And again, you don't know my hiring process. I'm going to bring us back to the hiring process now. What if I have an expert in-house who is like our head of technology, and that person will be in the interview with me and would interview you together to know if you have the skill? You've already assumed that, oh, it's the founder, I've checked him up, he doesn't have the skill of a developer, I can just cook up anything and tell them and they will hire me. What if they have a CTO? What if they have head of product? What if they have that? That's where understanding hiring process comes into the picture, right? So it is very important for you to understand all of this. So a lot goes into trying to apply for a job. That's why people keep complaining, we are not getting the job, we're not getting the job. It's because they are ignoring the key things that they are not supposed to ignore. So I'm giving you all of these tips today so that you don't ignore this. And this is me saying, beyond looking up the CEO and the HR, please look at anybody working closely or in any way in the field that you're trying to get into in that company, or the role that you're trying to get into in that company. So it's very important for you to have all the knowledge that you're supposed to have about that company, understand the hiring process, right? So moving on, I want to paint 2 scenarios for us and use 2 people as an example. Ade, the scattershot, and Aisha, the strategic person. Now, Ade is a chill guy, right? He has machine gunned his resume to like hundreds of job openings. He just did everything is just on autopilot, right? There are times that he's even repeating jobs he's applying for because of the approach he is taking. He's not being strategic. Trust me, he's dedicating his time to applying for jobs, right? It's not like he's not dedicating it, but he has an approach. I mean, we have a lot of people here who apply for jobs, but the thing is, there is no result. That's because maybe you've been taking an approach that is not working in your favor. right? So after you do all of that, you apply for the job and everything like that. You watch videos online, you work on your, leak code or programming or anything, you're having issues, you just have your routine on that day, and you're pretty confident that you are going to get the job. Then that's Ade, right? Then we move on to Aisha or Alice, whichever one wants to call them. Now, she has a spreadsheet that she uses to track the jobs that she has applied to. Before applying, she spends time understanding what each company does and what their needs are, as I have been explaining earlier. She's constantly updating her resume and several versions based on what type of role she's applying to, right? She keeps a log of all the job searches, activities, like every time she has reached out to a network or when she hasn't heard back from referrals. Now, in her own approach, there is referrals, there is reaching out to network, there is tailoring of resume to the different jobs she's applying to. There is understanding the company needs, right? You can see her approach to it. And then she's always on the lookout for skills that might make her more attractive to employers. Remember, I mentioned the aspect of a founder even having a knowledge of this skill set or all of that. So, and I'm even going to get to that point where we also talk about how you need to pay attention to the skills that is required in your type of job role or your, your role in general. Now, in comparison, when you look at Ade and then you look at Aisha, right? Ade, who has just one resume that he uses to apply for over 100 jobs, and maybe he has even repeated some applications, because over 100, you won't remember all the companies, right? So Ade and Aisha, guys, who do you think stands a better chance of getting the job? Is it Ade or Aisha? Just type it in the chat box for me. Who stands the chance of getting the job? Is it Ade or Aisha? Guys, I have my eyes on. Okay, so everybody, Uche says Aisha, Samuel says Aisha. Okay, we have more people saying Aisha here. All right, thank you very much. We have Mary saying Aisha as well. Okay, great. Everybody says definitely Aisha stands a better chance. So please, I want to know, guys, based on your approach, have you been an Ade or an Aisha? Which one, in all sincerity, guys? Just be very sincere with me. Have you been Ade or you've been Aisha? Which one of these have you been? Okay, Gloria has been Aisha. Okay, we have quite some people saying they've been Ade. Okay, so you want to look at Aisha's approach. Mary has, okay, Ade, okay. Mary says it's Ade. Shay says, truthfully, Ade. I love that you guys are confessing. I love that you guys are confessing. So you guys can see that the reason why you have not been getting that call back is because you've been applying like Ade. Uche says mostly Ade. That means Uche has also been trying Aisha's strategy. Adobe says Aisha. So you can see that Aisha is more intentional, more strategic, more deliberate, and she looks to be someone who is more prepared. Aisha will most likely get the job faster. So Mina says a little bit of both. Okay, but more of Ade. So guys, I see that everybody is guilty here. So you need to treat job hunting as a part-time job that leads to a full-time job. Like, this is a statement that we cannot stress enough. When it comes to looking for a job, you need to be sure that you are dedicating all of your time and everything to applying for that job. It is not something that you should apply for and say, oh, okay, yeah, I've done it. No, like, it's a part-time job that would lead to a full-time job. So dedicate certain hours in a day to use Aisha's approach in applying for jobs. Please don't be nonchalant about it. Be very intentional. In fact, you might want to screen munch, but you don't have to do that because we'll be sharing the slides from this session with you. Just make sure that you fill the what's it called? Make sure you fill the attendance form, and we will share the link to this. We'll share this slide with you, right? So moving on, guys, don't be Ade, please. Just make sure that you're Aisha. So job application strategies that you need to start putting in to consideration from today. Apply to jobs that have more demand than available skilled workers. Again, like I said, this session is a very strategic session, right? You need to understand the trick to applying for jobs. Apply to jobs that have more demand than available skilled workers. Now, what does that mean? We have a lot of tech jobs that are in demand. Jobs like data engineering, data scientist, data analyst. But how many people are really skilled? Cyber security is even like, we don't have it. Even cloud engineering, we don't have a lot of people there. Software engineering, we are beginning to have a lot of people there. But skilled, how many people are so skilled? Now, this is where you standing out, harnessing your skill set, honing it, consistently learning, so you can keep improving, so you can always be one of the best out of the people who apply. And so when you apply, you also have strategies that you apply that others are not applying. Strategies like everything I've been mentioning from the start of this session. So you need to apply to jobs that have more demand than available skilled workers. The job parts that I just called now. Then you need to apply to jobs that have global demand. I know, I don't know if you guys are aware, but we have a lot of global demand for data analysts, data scientists, data engineers, cybersecurity experts, cloud engineers, AI engineers, quite a lot, software engineers, and all of that. These skills are not easy to learn. That's why we don't have a lot of people who are so good at it. And I'm saying so good at it because most people would learn, they'll take up the title, obviously, but are they as good as they claim to be? That's where their CV will tell and their interview will tell. So from the CV, you can already tell. If the CV is not carrying enough experience that shows impact on a business, by enough experience that shows impact on a business, I mean, you've just worked on projects, random projects, right? And then another person has worked as an intern and contributed to a company's growth, even if it's for 6 months. That person has worked as an intern and contributed to a company's growth or decision making with their report stands a better chance, like far better chance in comparison to that person who has just worked on projects that don't have business impact. Projects give you experience, don't get me wrong, but it does not in any way show business impact. Your CV will not have that aspect that you show metrics. Your CV needs to have metrics. Oh, I improved sales by XYZ%. I topped our numbers of I topped our conversion numbers from 10% to 80%. You know, something, figures like that. And they command attention when you put it in bold. So in your CV, so I'm already giving you tips of things that your CV must contain, right? Apart from, oh, your experience is not enough if it's missing metrics. And you cannot have metrics if you've not worked as an intern or in real life setting, right? And projects cannot give you that. But projects would give you experience. But I'm saying applying for jobs, you want to stand out. So that's why project is not enough. Project is good. In fact, perfect and great, but not enough. You want to stand out. It's competitive, it's fierce. So apply to jobs that has less applicants. Apply to jobs as soon as they are posted. I put this into. When you apply to jobs that have less applicants, I'm not saying that the company will not have a lot of applications or something. I'm saying the minute they post it, you've seen it, and you're seeing 0 applicants or 10 applicants or 5 applicants, trust me, you stand a better chance. But when it's already 400 applicants, especially on platforms like LinkedIn, don't bother. Like really, because the chances of getting a call back would be slim for an interview, right? So when you're applying for jobs, please be on the lookout for jobs that have a lot of applicants, right? Sorry, very little applicants. That way, you stand a chance to most likely get a call back when your CV is properly tailored as well. Please, you need to bear in mind that you need to tick all boxes, right? So if you apply for a job that has those few applicants, if your CV is not good, they won't call you back. Even if it's 2 people that applied, they won't bother, right? Then apply to jobs that are future proof. Future proof in the sense that in the next couple of years, will this job still be relevant or would it have declined, right? So jobs like data science would always be in demand. This is the reason AI is currently dominating, and AI cannot work or function without data. And who are the people who make data available, either by scraping the web or by, extracting from a database or anything like that? They are the data scientists, data analysts help you with also everything data, what's it called? Visualization and all of that. As long as data is needed, sorry, as long as AI is a thing, data would always be needed. And as long as data is needed, data scientists, data analysts, data engineers would always be needed. You can see why I was deliberate when I was asking questions around who are the people on this call who are in this career path or that career path. I want to know what you do, right? Cybersecurity is also future proof because at every point in time, information on the cloud or in your system or anywhere needs to be protected. More than anything, the world is even a wider global village. So we would always need these people. So as long as you're in this career path already, your job is a future proof one. So you need to apply to, if you not gain the skill in this career path, you need to, but like I said, I asked the question at the start of this session, and majority of the people on this call already indicated. Now, focusing on showing interviewers how good you are instead of telling them how good you are is important. Now, notice the difference. You're showing them how good you are is different from you telling them how good you are. Now, how do you show them how good you are as against telling them how good you are? Now, look at these two approaches: landing the interview and acing the interview. What would help you land the interview is telling them how good you are. How do you tell them? It's with your CV, right? Your CV has the text that you've written and put together that tells them, right, that you can do this, you have done this, you have this skill, you have that skill, you've gone through this stage of learning, you've worked with this organization, you've solved this problem. It tells them that. That's what they can see on your CV. But then the aspect where you show them is when they interact with you in person, virtually, or physically. Now, virtually is still in person because they can already see you. Your video is on, theirs is on, you guys are interacting. Now you get the opportunity to show them who you are. You're not just telling them with your CV. So your CV still needs to be very, very good in order for you to get to the point where you can even land the interview. You land the interview, you need to ace the interview. If you're not acing the interview, it is bad. Like, it is very bad. So you need to land the interview, but that's just like the first step. That's not the first step. You've done a lot of steps before you got the interview, but that's not the final step. Acing the interview is the final step. When you ace it, make sure that you stand out out of the other competitions. So the phase of landing the interview focuses on standing out to recruiters and hiring managers by crafting tailored resumes. We cannot overemphasize the importance of tailored resumes, because this resume that you have tailored to this particular job search is going to be what helps you. Because if you have just one resume and you're just sending it, you won't get the call back. Because what if it's missing what I want to see, right? Then you need to write compelling cover letters. People put little to no effort into cover letters, but you need to be intentional. Then networking strategically is something I would keep talking about. It's very important. Now you get the job, you get in the room. Now it's time for you to show them who you are and how you can ace the interview. So this phase is about demonstrating your value during the interview through clear communication, showcasing technical expertise, sharing impactful stories of past achievement. You cannot have stories of past achievement if you have not worked in a real life setting. How can you work in a real life setting when you just gained the skill, or not, right? Maybe you just gained it or you've gained it a while ago, but you've not landed that job. You can't have that story to tell. So the easiest way to have that story to tell is with an internship. So that's why projects, you're just going to be talking about how you worked in isolation, right? Not how you were really able to contribute this or contribute that. You just keep going round and round about, also, I worked on this project, I got on Kaggle, or I worked on this project, I got on GitHub, and the business challenge was this. That's even if it has a business context. Practice projects hardly have business context, but that's not the case with Amdari projects. Amdari projects have business context. You're solving a business problem, a business challenge, so it's not just a random practice project, right? So you can't have stories to tell, again, like I said, impactful stories to tell, if you have not worked with a real business challenge or worked on a real business challenge. So you need to have that added to your story. And then you need to build a strong connection with the interviewer to prove that you are the best fit for the role. People don't know how important it is to make an impression on the people who are interviewing you. You want them to fall in love with you. You want them to like you. I spoke about personality hire. It's not a bad type of hire. Trust me. It's not a bad type of hire, especially because people can also learn on the job. And this is because sometimes some people, maybe the technical interview did not go in their favor, but something else went in their favor, which is the behavioral interview. And the founders are like, this person has this soft skill that would really help us. Or this person is going to be a fast learner based on what he has said or something. He's not so good yet, but I believe with what he has proven to do in the past, he would be able to catch up fast. That's they're hiring you based on the fact that they've perceived something about your personality. You're a fast learner. They will be able to show you the ropes and you'll be able to take it up from there. So you want to be impressive. You want them to fall in love with you, right? So these are ways that you can also ace that interview. Now, what are those major steps that you can take when it comes to getting a job? The strength in the connection you have in your network can greatly increase your chance of getting a job. I spoke about how I have recommended, and I'm not kidding, over 8 people for jobs this year. I'm talking life-changing opportunities, not just, oh, okay, I heard about something. No, I'm talking life-changing opportunities. And I recommended the people I have the closest connection with. So I'll be like, oh, I've worked with this person and I think this person is not so bad. This person might be able to thrive here. This person might be able to deliver here. And then I'll recommend. And when I recommend, I'll be like, oh, so I am putting in my word for you. Please don't mess it up, right? And that's how different people have been able to get jobs through me. I know a lot of people who would have done that as well at different points and all of that. That's why you should not underestimate the power of your connection. So don't just connect with people and leave it as basic and, oh, okay, yeah, I think I know this person. If you don't have an impression on that person, they won't recommend you because you don't know who this person knows, right? You don't know my network. So quality people is very important. So if I am connected to quality people and I know you and we have a good rapport, and these quality people I know need somebody that knows how to do what you do, and you're not naturally quiet about the fact that, oh, you're a data analyst, you worked on this dashboard, this was the impact you made, I would remember you and I would be like, oh, hi, let me say Shay. Hi, Shay. I have somebody who actually has this, who needs someone for this job, and I think you'd be perfect for it. Here's their number. I told them you'd reach out, you know. If you don't make noise about what you do, I would not be able to recommend you because I would forget. The only way I can remember is if you and I work closely or are working closely and I know that this opportunity will benefit you, then I'll share it, right? So you need to make sure that the strength in your connection and network is very strong. So as soon as you know that these people in your network are quality people, please build that bond. Then keep your interview skills warm, even if you are not getting interviews. A lot of people would say, okay, yeah, it's not like I would most likely get the job or something, so I don't need to really stress myself with preparing. If they give me a call back, fine. If they don't, but there's something called the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. And this has to do with the information retention, right? So you can have over 40 information retention easily if you always practice what you've learned before. The forgetfulness would drop. Imagine you've practiced something over and over and over, and the fact that you're not doing something at this point in time does not mean you don't revisit that aspect. You will not forget it. So now I want to ask you a question. Most people on this call said something. They said they've not gotten jobs as the tech skill they've learned. Please, have you been, practicing regardless? If you've been practicing regardless, give me a thumbs up. If you've not been practicing, give me a thumbs down. Please be sincere, right? So I want to know if the okay, great. A lot of people have been practicing. Awesome. I want to know if the Ebbinghaus forgetting what's it called now? Forgetting curve applies to you or not. So it's great to know that a lot of you have been practicing. Ah, Okiki, you've not been practicing. Why is that though? Okiki, you're going to forget what you've learned. Is that what you want? All right. So great. Quite a number of people here have been practicing. And I hope you've been, making noise about what you've been learning, posting about it, putting it out there, because it will benefit you on the long run. I'll take questions by the end of this session. So please practice what you've, keep practicing your interview, keep rehearsing, and keeping it warm. That's your interview skills. And even if you're not getting the job or you're not getting the interview, as long as you just see an information that will benefit you regarding this interview, just keep practicing. Trust me, even when you least expect it, something you had practiced at some point when you were practicing 3, 4 months or 5 months ago will just come into your head when you're having this real interview this time, and you use it and it works in your advantage, it works in your favor. Then schedule mock interview every month with friends who are also job hunting. This person is job hunting or not. Just make sure that that person that helps you prepare. I remember when a friend of mine was trying to get technician or any opportunity at all, scholarship in the US, technician in the UK, or teaching assistant, routes to just leave Nigeria and move on to work as a tech professional in the US. I remember she would always practice with me. I wasn't applying. It didn't matter that I wasn't applying. She was applying. She would always wake me up at night that she's about to practice. Now, guys, I just said every night, not once a week, not twice a week. This person did not have the interview yet. She was just practicing. And did she get it the first time she tried? Yes, she did. That's because even before she tried, even before she started the main application process, she had started practicing and all, and it made it easy. So I believe that had already made her knowledge to be very wide and broad. And because I was that critique for her, I would ask her the questions. In fact, sometimes we would laugh about it because she would be like, these people will not be as strict as this. Like, why are you taking it so serious and all that? So she had prepared. And I am not joking right now, guys, when I say she got it the first time she tried. What did she get? Not even the technician. She got the scholarship, full scholarship funded to do her master's. She got it and straight, that was how easy it was. Because she was very intentional. She dedicated every night to do this mock rehearsal. So now you need to make sure that your reach is expanded, your network. Tap into referrals. Please do not overlook this. Do not overlook it at all. Tailor your application. Research target companies. I spoke about researching in detail. Do your due diligence as much as you can. This is how you can hack hiring process, right? Seek feedback. When you have somebody like an accountability partner, or the scenario I just painted about, helping my friend prepare for her interview and all that and everything like that, I would give her feedback. I would always give her feedback. Make sure the person you're working with is not the person that will deceive you. And make sure the person is very intelligent. That's the only way this person can give you, yes, very important tip, actually. Whoever you are practicing your interview with should either be someone above your level, someone who has gone past, can be a friend, can be a church member, can be a member of, your Islamic group, can be a member of a community you belong to. You just know that this person is more advanced. Just beg them for maybe a time within the week just to help you practice. But please don't use somebody that you are like ahead of in terms of skills or experience. You need somebody that is ahead of you, that can give you a constructive criticism, not somebody that will sugarcoat it for you, because this is how you learn, this is how you grow, this is how you get better and improve. So the person has to be either within your skill set, but advisably has to be above, like advisably has to be above, right? If it's going to be within your skill set, it should be somebody that tells you the hard truth. My friend I was having this conversation with, I had never applied before, but she used me as her accountability partner and mock interviewer and everything like that. And she still aced it the first time because I would always go with the constructive criticism, and because she knows I read found right. So you need somebody that is like very diverse in terms of intelligence and all that. You need to track your progress. You need to know that you're improving. You need to practice behavioral questions. We'll get to that. You need to use job alerts strategically. We will get to that. This is how you can land the job, right? Now, when it comes to landing the job, what are those key things that you need to know? Craft a winning CV, tailored to every job. Please, it's a lot of work, I know. I know someone typed something that he takes Aisha's approach, but the time to commit to applying back to back and tailoring it is the challenge. I know that's the challenge. That's why I said take it as your part-time job that would lead to a full-time job. You want to transition into tech. You want to land your first job. If you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do the right way, it would be almost impossible to see results, and you want to see results. So you need to avoid common mistakes like terrible formatting when it comes to your CV. Indicate the projects you have worked on clearly. Add metrics to grab attention, like numbers. Or I optimized the website speed by 25%. They need to see it and put it in bold, please. Those percentages, put it in bold. Then talk about the skills and the tools that you have. Do not forget your experience. If this CV was meant for like someone who wants to be an intern and they are still in school, they need to start it with their education before experience. But because you have worked and you've gained experience in other fields, please remember that you're not going to be adding other fields, by the way. You're not going to be. That's why your CV cannot be empty. Now, when you're applying for an entry-level job, everybody on this call said something. Yes, I currently don't work in tech. I currently don't work in tech. That means you will not be able to have a CV that has an experience that says you worked as a data analyst. And why is that? Because your CV will have something that has to do with the job you work as right now. Because I believe most people on this job are not unemployed, right? We most likely have unemployed people. Please, can you give me a thumbs up if you're employed? Give me a thumbs down if you're not unemployed. You are employed, give me a thumbs up. Great. Okay, Kende is not employed. We have more people employed. Awesome. We have more employed people on the okay, great. Betty is not employed. Uchechukwu is not employed. But every other hand I'm seeing, the hands I'm seeing who are employed are a lot. Okay, Busayo is not employed. Okay, we have more. Okay, great. So we have more employed and less unemployed people. So here's the trick. For the people who are employed, you want to apply for a job. Let me use data analyst as an example. As a data analyst, your current job is not what should be on your CV because it is not connected in any way as a proof of experience to what they want to hire you for. And remember that these guys just want to see a proof that you've worked on something. So that means your CV is going to be empty, right? Because let's say you work in a bank now as a customer service representative. Let's use that as an example. Let's say that's what Adobe does, right? Customer service rep at Wema Bank. But now you've gained data analytics skills. You want to get a job as that. You've not worked as that before because, of course, you just gained the skill. You don't have the experience. But you've worked as a customer success rep for like 5 years across different banks. In that 5 years, You cannot add that to apply for the job. That's an automatic pass. Like that's an automatic jump and pass. Guys, is this what you've been doing when applying for jobs? Like, can you, like, have you been adding experiences from your previous jobs not related? Can you give me a thumbs up? If that's not what you've done, give me a thumbs down. You've been okay, see, okay. So you've been applying using those experiences. This is exactly why. Okay, okay. Only Busayo is giving me a thumbs down, and Uche, but every other thumbs up I'm seeing means you've been applying with your previous experience. Mina also, Adobe, all of you have been applying with your previous experience. Now, do you see why you've not been getting the callbacks? That's why the job has not been coming. That's why it's not been leading to interview. You have been applying to jobs with experiences not related to the tech role you're applying to. They will not see you as a worthy candidate, because remember what I said earlier about the competition and the fact that you are not the only one as an entry-level category applying. You have experienced people who were laid off, experienced people who took gap year, maybe to see the world, like I said, for whatever reason. You want your CV to carry experience related to the job you're applying for. Now, if you don't have experience, meaning you've not worked on a project, your CV will be empty. Please, again, do not add your previous work that is not related to this. So that means right now, practically everybody who gave me a thumbs up has an empty CV. So if you have worked on a project, that's a good one. But remember that that would say project, and it will not carry metrics. Metrics stands out. It gives you a better edge, not an edge now, a better edge. How do you have metrics? You have worked with an organization, whether as an intern. That's what Amdari internship gives you. It gives you that opportunity to have metrics, right? So it's not just going to be, oh, I worked on a project, on this, on that. Again, like I said, Amdari project is that one project that has business context to it. And this is not my word. This is the word of people who have worked on projects on Amdari. They're like, oh, most projects they see on Kaggle or on GitHub always come with just, random and everything. But Amdari project has context, business context. You would see the business problem, the business name, the rationale of the project, the tech stack you're using, everything like that. But with Amdari internship, it's not like steps further, because now the projects you're working on are from real businesses of our business partners, the business challenge. When you provide solution to it, they implement it. It adds to their business in some way that improves their numbers, either reduce the marketing budget. That says a lot. Imagine you have something like that to add to your CV. Metrics, right? You have metrics to add to your CV. That helps you stand out. This is how you craft a winning CV. So that means you have not crafted a winning CV. So you need to craft a winning CV if you've not done that. If you will love to join our next clarity session, fill the attendance form. Like I said, we'll be sending this session's materials to you, and you would also be getting a link to sign up for our clarity session, which is a one-on-one clarity session where we can also answer any other question you have as per the Amdari internship and how you can get started. And if you already want to get started, I mean, if this session has clarified it enough for you, you can go ahead and do that. But please fill the form that my colleague is dropping in the chat. Right. Now, acing the interview is also very important. How do you do that? With your behavioral questions and your response to these behavioral questions. Now, the point of behavioral question is to determine the match between you and what the company needs. Right. It's very important for you to understand that this is where they perceive the value you bring. Behavioral question is where they get to perceive the value you bring to the table. If they sense, and it's always trick questions, so you need to know the different types of questions that they would typically ask, and I'll show you briefly because I have like a snippet of it. But these are things that you'd also have better access to when you enroll for the Amdari internship, because it's like in stages with our interns. We have all of these experiences and benefits and values for them in different stages. So every week there is something new to keep, improving what they've learned the previous week. So when it comes to the behavioral question, This is where they get to know what level you are fit for. Levels are relative. You need to understand this. So if we're talking to you during an interview and I'm asking questions and you're responding like a junior level person, even though you've been working for 5 years, you're responding like a junior level person, I will assume that you're fit for a junior role. If we're hiring for a senior role, that person will get cut off. Now, how do you perfectly fit into a senior level um how do you perfectly answer a behavioral question that will make you pass the perception to the interviewer that you're a senior level person? I mentioned something earlier regarding experience, how you can build 5 years experience in 1 year. Amdari internship will give you diverse industry experience in 6 months, right? Diverse industry experience in 6 months. It's immersive such that it will not feel like this internship was just for 6 months. It will feel like it was for over like a year because it is that immersive. Now, poor behavioral response will lead to down leveling. So you need to know how to smartly respond to this. How you smartly respond to this are one of the things that you'd also learn at the Amdari internship, where because we have mentorship sessions, and this mentorship it's a scheduled thing. So when you have that, we also have the aspect of interview prep. Now, naturally, people would give you interview preps related to your CV, but it's beyond that. Interview preps extends to the aspect of behavioral questions and technical questions. Right. Now, you need to understand how to now use story shape to answer your behavioral question. What I mean by use story shape is the other aspect that is ahead of star approach. That's situation, task, action, and result. Use story shape has a better leverage when it comes to you telling a scenario based question. And what do I mean by this? Use story shape starts with you, like you in the picture, what you do, your responsibility with your past, as it relates to your past experience. So an interviewer is asking you a question regarding a situation and how you solve the problem and all of that, and you're starting with a story that has to do with, okay, so I worked with this company as a lead data analyst on the team. I had 5 members in my team, or 5 teammates, and there was this challenge around XYZ. And we had, I'm going to break it down further in my next slide. And we had this challenge, and this was how I resolved it. Because I have a slide for you shape, that's why I don't want to highlight it, but I just want you to understand what I mean by you story shape. You story shape just starts with you, right? So you're just going to now use your star approach as a linter. What I mean by linter in this case is something that now kind of adds more flesh to what you're starting with. So naturally, star approach most likely doesn't start with you and describing what you do and the people you worked with. It just starts with the situation. Remember, I said situation, which is the problem. In you story shape, the situation comes at the challenge stage, because it's like a curve like this. I'll show you that as we go. Then you describe imperfect but positive success, because to be very honest, the success we get at work is not always perfect, right? Because of the different challenges you've encountered while trying to solve the problem. In fact, it's all messy sometimes, but then the result ends up being positive. Remember to share all this story. It shows your depth. It shows how you were able to navigate those ugly situations. But you will not have the story if it's not your reality or a reality you lived. So, and how do you have stories like this? It is when you work in a real life scenario. And entry level, the guarantee is always internship, to be honest, because nobody would want to like just already take that bet, and or they want to still see experience. You cannot submit empty CV. You can't, right, guys? How do you have something on your CV? Internship. And that makes it easy. Now, in your story, please make sure that you don't have villain. Now, behavioral question is very tricky in the sense that you might need to share a story. Please, in the course of sharing a story of how you guys were solving a problem, you want to desist from saying things like, oh, while we're working on this, now there is a team member that was dragging our work, and she was making, then you keep going on and on about how terrible this person was to your team. You want to avoid that because that says a lot about you as a person. You're painting someone else. And I would always say this, right? If you find it easy to gossip about other people, right, you'd find it easy to gossip about me. That says a lot about you as a person. So when you go for an interview, you really want to stay away from things that would be adding too much. Like I said earlier, you want them to fall in love with you. So if you're already passing the perception by painting someone else as a villain in your story, they might start having some, doubts. They might start having some perception about you that you don't want them to have. So you need to be very careful. Then you need to use the star approach now to make sure that your story has substance, right? But do not use it to write your story. Don't use it to start. You just use it to give substance. I mentioned it earlier. What you use to start is the you story shape. You story shape starts with describing you and what you did in that company, right? Then the people you worked with, and then the challenge or the situation. That's where the star approach now comes in. So you story shape starts with two things first, and then the star approach comes after that, right? So don't lie in your interview. Don't lie in your interview. People say this a lot. Make sure you lie in your interview because, as long as you can learn on the job, you catch up. Please do not take that advice. And I'm being very sincere with you. Do not lie in your interview because it's a very, very bad way to start. I know people also make jokes with it and all, but it's actually a very bad way to start because imagine lying. I remember when I went for my interview as a web project manager, I had never worked as a web project manager. I had just worked with a web project manager. I was the lead developer on the project, but I wasn't the manager or the project manager or anything like that. I was just the lead developer. And I worked as the front end developer, not even full stack. And when I was having my interview, I told them all of this. I said, but one thing I know was that I learned a lot working with a cross-functional team. What that did, or what that told this person is, I have a deep knowledge as a developer. It is going to add value to their organization because they were not hiring me as a developer. They were hiring me to lead a team of developers. I told them the things that the project manager that I worked with pretty much did with us. So they could see that because we worked on multiple projects with this person, I had already mastered the process. The sprints, the sessions we have, the stand-up, the calls, the meetings, the agile approach that we use, they could tell that I was well-versed because I worked with a cross-functional team. This is what internship gives you, project will not give you. This is what experience gives you, project will not give you. Project alone, rather, will not give you. So, and you can't have this if you don't try to gain access to internship. And that makes it easy again. I'll keep spreading the word about that. Now, nailing that behavioral question with your you story arc, which is man in whole. Why is it man in whole? It's because of this curve that you see here right now, right? So this is how you start talking about your status, what you did in the team. Now, the you story arc can be a game-changing approach in interviews. Think of your career as a man in whole story. Start with your early experiences, your role and responsibility on that particular story you're telling. What was your role? Now you're trying to tell us a story based on a question. You need to start with your role in that story. The people you worked with, follow it with them, right? You can add the number of people you worked with, talk about their roles so that this person has a better picture of the people you interacted with. You can only have something like this when you work with cross-functional teams. Internship gives you that. Now, the challenge and obstacles that you guys faced while working on the project is where the curve starts dropping, right? The challenge that you faced keeps coming deep. The depth of, the more you talk about the challenge, the deeper the curve. The more you talk about the challenge, the deeper you call the curve, right? So you now start talking about the specific task and actions taken. Can you see the star approach here, right? The situation has already started. The task is already showing face. The action is right here, as you can see, right? Let me use this to just draw it out. So you can see here the specific task, the action taken, right? That's when this curve starts coming up, when you start taking action. And then the key results, which brings us to the end of the curve. The result is what brings the curve back up. Now, in this situation, you have just demonstrated your resilience, your problem-solving skills, growth, because there's no way you share this story that would not realize certain things that you learned from it. So you need to be very good at telling the story, and you need to use this approach. Don't start with the situation, start with you, your role, your responsibility, the people you worked with, and then the situation, which is a challenge, right? More challenge, more challenge, more challenge, more challenge. The task, the action, sorry, don't have a straight hand, the action, and then the result, right? Please, is this very helpful before I move on to my next slide? Awesome, thank you. Who will be using the use story arc in their next interview? Can you let me know? You'll be using the use story arc to start your scenario-based question before you follow it with the start approach. Awesome, thank you. Okay, now moving on, the behavioral questions I mentioned earlier by competence. There's a question they will ask you that will show adaptability. There is another they would ask you that would show analytical thinking. There is another they would show that will show attention to detail, communication. It all depends on the type of role you're applying for. So in your role as a data analyst, you don't want to ignore anything that has to do with showing the type of thinker that you are, how analytical you are with your thinking. So behavioral question is not just about you checking all the list. By the way, if I share this document of behavioral question with you, you would see that it's 19 pages. That's how all encompassing it is. I have every possible behavioral question they can possibly ask you as someone applying for a job, right? But they will not ask you all. They will ask you the ones tailored to your role. That's why you need to know what you're applying for and the requirements. And the requirements will naturally let you know the aspect of behavioral question you should look out for. So now when you go online to search for jobs or job openings and all, you'd notice that there is always this aspect of the right requirements. And under requirements, you might see, analytical thinking or critical thinking, a team player or team spirit, communication skills, soft skills like that. You need to know all of this. Then refer back to this document. By the way, each of the behavioral interview categories have more than one question. I just picked one for each because I want to be able to show you some of the questions, right? So you need to take a look at the aspect that is related to what you're applying to, and then select your questions based on that. When you select your questions based on that, you'll be able to just focus on it so that you're not reading every behavioral question that you possibly be asked. You just focus on analytical thinking as a data analyst, maybe communication, because you need to present your reports, right? So you need to know how to communicate, right? And all of that. There are certain people whose role will require conflict resolution, like project managers or expectation management, right? So imagine conflict can arise when there is a deadline set by stakeholders for the delivery of a project, a website project, for example, and developers are delaying. They are not delivering on time. You guys have already given stakeholders a deadline. And so how do you manage expectation? Let's say you didn't now manage it right, then conflict arises. How do you resolve it? Now, behavioral question will be, how did you resolve a situation like this. You would not have a story like this to tell if you don't have the experience. Again, project alone will not give you this. Project is perfect for skill enhancement, but proper experience comes with working as an intern because you want to get started already, right? So we have some resources and open source websites that you can also gain access to. So if you try to get maybe open source resources and all of that, you can use GitHub, Bitbucket, and all of that. And that is also very perfect. Like I said, in comparison to all of these platforms, Amdari projects have business context. That's how we stand out. Now, behavioral interview question, I mentioned that it's like 19 pages, but it's premium content only accessible to our interns. The documents will just be sent to them. They have access to it for life and to use in preparing for their interview at every point in time. The same thing with technical interview questions, the platforms they can use to rehearse, prepare, and practice. They are all things that is accessible under the premium package, which is only for interns, like I said. So you might want to say, all this seems like a lot. Where can I find these jobs fast and easy? And I think one person asked me. So you can do that. Like, let's say you're looking for remote jobs in the UK. You can get it on Total Jobs, CV Library, JobServe, read.co.uk, Google Jobs, JobSite, LinkedIn, Indeed, Gumtree, Glassdoor, Monster. That's for jobs in the UK. Now, popular job boards in Canada, LinkedIn again, Indeed, Canada, Glassdoor, Talent.com, Monster, Google Jobs again, Career Builder, Simply Hired, Eluta.ca, ZipRecruiter, Workopolis. Now, if it's jobs in the US, job boards in the US, LinkedIn and Indeed again, Snagger Job, Glassdoor again, Talent.com again, Jobs to Careers, Google Jobs again, Monster, Flex Jobs, Job Rapido, Workable, Next, ZipRecruiter, and Career Builder again, and Resume Library. Now, one thing we've done at Amdari, you can see that all these platforms, like how many can you visit? Here and there and here and there, they are a lot. How exactly can you just, like, it's a lot of work. I'm already applying for job here, I'm already applying for jobs there. So I need to tailor my CV, I need to do this, I need to do that. This seems like a lot. Among me, how can I have it all straightforward? Amdari exclusive job board. If you go to the Amdari platform and sign up and go to the dashboard, which I'll show you quickly, you see our job board. You'd see our job board. And from this job board, you can easily navigate and apply for jobs that we have collected from all these numerous platforms. Let me share my screen. That we have collected. You can see the job board right here on your dashboard as a user. And you can see that we get these jobs from FlexJob, Wellfound, LinkedIn, Simply Hired, pretty much all of the platforms I've showed you. And these jobs cut across cybersecurity, data science, data analytics, and all of that, as you can see them right here. So you can apply for all of these jobs, as many as you want. They all come from all these platforms, right? So that's how we have made it easy for you to navigate the platform. So let me continue sharing my screen so we can wrap up the session as soon as possible. So Amdari is that all-in-one solution for your career problems. So you can already see how all the jobs can be gotten from our job board. The same thing with internship opportunity. The same thing with mentorship sessions. 250 plus projects, which you can add to your CV or resume. These projects have business context. They are not random projects. The internship makes you more solid because you interact with others, you work in a team, you work on projects that have business impact. We have CV revamp and review, which I have done a brief of it for you today on this session, and then international job reference letter for 2 years, which is available on request at any time. LinkedIn optimization is also one of it. Global job board is also another thing, which I showed you now. A portfolio website builder. This is a website that allows you to have your portfolio, and you have access to it for life as long as you are maybe an intern or a previous intern at Amdari. And then we have employability sessions like this that can help you keep growing and improving. So, Ichok, what are the best ways to take advantage in tech? Now, I spoke about people or you applying for jobs that are in demand. Business analysis is one of it. Agile project manager is one of it. And you can see that these are career paths that you can work as a business analyst, business data analyst, process analyst, functional analyst, change management analyst, and so on. For Agile Project Manager, you can work as Agile Project Program Manager, Project Scrum Master Consultant, Agile Project Manager. Okay, we have that right. Scrum Team Facilitator, and so on. Then we have cybersecurity. And under this, you can work as cybersecurity analyst, SOC analyst, penetration analyst, and so much more. These are in-demand jobs, and they are not jobs that we just randomly came up with and said, oh, they're in demand. It's based on reports and data provided online. The same thing with data analytics, data science, and data engineering. They are in-demand jobs, and you can also see the tools that you need to know and learn as you chase a career in these fields, right? Remember what I said, when applying for jobs, you want to take a look at requirements so that if there is a skill there that you don't have, or a tool they use that you don't have, you can quickly take a course on Coursera and learn that skill. Remember the instance I made, the two hypothetical people I used in the situation, Ade and Ali and Aisha, and how Aisha learns new skills every time so as to have a competitive edge. This is where you can do that as well. When applying for jobs, you see that, oh, they actually have opening for this role and they need someone who is skilled in Tableau. I don't know how to use Tableau. Quickly take a course and get ready for your interview. HR analysis is also one of it, and financial analysis is also one of the in-demand jobs. And the good news is, for all of these in-demand jobs, we have internship opportunities for them, right? So now you say, these roles require me to have experience among me. Give me an easy way to go about it. I have been hinting at the fact that Amdari gives you that opportunity when you work with us as a data analytics consultant, business analysis consultant, data engineering consultant, data science consultant, HR analyst consultant, and so on. You get to work on business challenges of our business partners, right? We put you in teams, you get to work together and brainstorm and have a presentation and evaluation as well as recommendation. This presentation is what you present to these business partners that in turn add impact to their businesses, which you can use on your resume as experience, metrics, and the impact that you have had. You add it to your portfolio, like I said here, share on LinkedIn, and when you get that the internship placement with Amdari, easily just change your LinkedIn and say, oh, add the experience and say, oh, data analytics consultant at Amdari, right? And its duration is 3 to 6 months, right? So you get to work on projects, you get to develop employability skills, you get to work on real industry projects that have business impact, multiple industry experience, like I said, and a massive one that makes it look like you've had years of experience, not 6 months, multiple technology experience, increased confidence for future roles, work with cross-functional teams. Remember how working with a project manager helped me land a job because I could tell a story based on that experience. I didn't have to, I could have lied that I was that person. I didn't lie that I was that person. I said I worked with that person and this is what I know about the role. And I had taken a course as product manager, so it made it all make sense. Teamwork and project collaboration. I've also mentioned the importance of that. Networking opportunity is one of the things you get when you intern with us at Amdari. Remember the emphasis I have been making on networking, networking, networking. It's one of the things you get. The employability skills you get, CV review and revamp. I gave you a snippet on how your CV needs a revamp. It's more like I even reviewed your CV because from our conversation, you clearly mentioned that your CV currently has your jobs that are not even related, your experience that are not even related to the role you're applying for, right? Then we help you revamp your CV. So we also help you with your LinkedIn optimization, one-on-one mentorship. This is where you learn from a mentor that can guide you and makes your journey faster. Learning from a mentor would ease you the stress of learning something for 5 years, something that with this person you can learn in a few months. We have the career coaching sessions as well, interview preparation sessions, which is where the behavioral question comes into picture, technical questions comes into picture, and all of that. Access to remote job board comes into picture. Online portfolio builder, which you have access to for life, comes into the picture without subscribing for the portfolio builder. You have it's your website, you uploaded your projects, it's yours for life. I know we all know how expensive it is to build a portfolio website. And then the job reference letter. Now we have the upcoming cohorts for our internship happening in January, and the programs that we cover are all listed here, as you can see, like I mentioned earlier, and you can quickly enroll before the early bird discount expires. It's expiring today. If you're willing to make payment before Monday, I can extend it for you. You can reach out to me on my number, which I'll drop here. If you also have more questions to ask, you can easily reach out to me on WhatsApp on this number. So if you would love to enroll and take advantage of the discount, which ends today, it's been on since last week, Saturday, so it's going to end today. Like I said, if you'd love to secure your spot, please, my colleague has dropped the link for enrollment. So the price for the internship is, let me scroll, $400, but because of the discount, you get to pay $300. And that's, if you want to pay in Naira, it's 300,000 Naira. And you can secure your spot with installmental payments. So you can pay in 3 installments. So that's $102, then you pay 99 and then 99. So you can pay in 3 installments, you can choose to pay in 2 installments, and you can choose to pay in 1 installment. Select the program you want to enroll for. If you have any concerns, clarity, or questions, send me a message on WhatsApp and I will attend to it. I've dropped my number. My colleague has dropped the link to enroll and apply for internship. Just select the program you want to enroll for. Select apply. It will redirect you to a form. Fill the form. You'll be taken to the payment page straight. And if it's just the payment link you want, I can also send you that. Like I said, I have dropped my number. Let me drop it again for those who missed it. So you can just easily reach out to me on this number on WhatsApp. I will be taking questions right now. So this is what the program gives you. So if you choose to do 3 months, that's okay. If you choose to do 6 months, that's okay. It's still the same price, 25% discount, and you can easily reach out to me on WhatsApp. So yeah, the program gives you all of the benefits I have mentioned and everything that this this session also talked about as per how you can land the job faster. We pretty much prepare you and give you that opportunity to grow and stand a better chance to get a job. So thank you very much. I believe you all gained so much value from this session. So I'll be taking questions now. We have a couple of hands raised, so I'll just check right now. I'll be checking the, yeah, hi Betty. Go ahead, please, since your hand is the first to be raised. If you
Okay,
have
hi.
questions, hi Betty, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much for the very insightful session.
Thank you very much, Betty.
Please, I wanted to get to understand a bit more about what the program offers. I see here about the 3 to 6 months internship. So, in the process of the 6 months internship, you gain experience and all.
Mhm.
but what does the program do to ensure you're able to use that to get a job at the end of the internship? Do they follow you through? I mean, one of your metrics, is it how many people get a job after the program? Is this part of it?
Thank you very much. Yes, so the metric for how many people get a job after the program is very important to us because that's how we get to also determine the success rate, right? Now, how we help you become solid is with the quality of business challenges that you work on. I mentioned that we have business partners, right? That you get to work on their projects. The reason why we have it this way is so that your resume has business impact. So it is not just going to carry random projects that didn't have any business impact or metrics or things that you can add. These are things that gives you an opportunity to stand out. Then I talked about the aspect of interview preps that we have and the resources that we have also, and the ways that you can go about navigating the job market, where to look, things to pay attention to, in hiring processes that you should also be very conversant with are things that we will expose you to during the session. Trust me, during the program, this is a 2 hour session that cannot cover everything because CV review and revamp is like a session on its own, right? So, and I showed you how you can make your CV more solid, crafting a winning CV, things that you're not doing right now that you can do to improve your CV, things that would be like commanding attention to recruiters, all of those metrics, the business impact, the fact that what you've worked on is not just practice project, but real actual experience related to the job you're applying to, and not just bringing your past experiences and believing that maybe transferable skills from here will work, because that's one of the mistakes that people make. They feel transferable skills from the previous job to one thing that would make it make sense, and then they can just, they can just um rough it all up and get the job. So these are ways that we prepare you to stand a better chance to get the job. And when you have maybe an interview also, you can reach out to us. We help you prepare. There is the aspect of mock interview session also. We help you prepare, we help you get ready for your interview. And these are ways that we, like I said, help you stand a better chance. I don't know if I answered your question. Did I answer your question, Betty?
Yes, yes, you went deeper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Betty. Okay, another hand is up. Hi, MM. How you doing today? Please go ahead with your question. Hello, MM. You have the floor. While MM is waiting to unmute, I'm going to read a question from the chat. So Yusuf says, please, what's the difference between international experience and Nigerian experience? Okay, so first off, we've actually scrapped the Nigerian experience aspect. So it's going to be international experience for whether you pay in Naira or whether you pay in dollar. The difference now will be if you pay in dollars, your international experience will be for 2 years. If you pay in Naira, your international experience will be for 1 year, meaning the job reference letter you get will be for 1 year. Sorry, this is what I'm trying to say. The job reference letter you get will be for 1 year, but you actually get international experience for both. The only difference between Naira and dollar is just 2 years of work reference letter and 1 year for Naira. I hope I answered your question, Yusuf. Let me take another question. You can please unmute if you have a question. Irene says, nice.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, MM.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing today?
I'm great. All right, thank you very much. The section has been very expository and I've really gained much. Please, I just want to know, is it possible for you to give us a breakdown of your success story in terms of the statistics of previous cohort, like after 2 months or 3 months of enrollment, how many percentage of the participants have been able to successfully gain work or employment in around the world?
Okay, thank you very much, So the first cohort is, sorry, so the current cohort we have right now is the first cohort. So what that means is we still have people undergoing the program. But before this cohort, one thing that we have done and been able to help people achieve is placing them on paid internship with organizations, because we have close ties with different organizations across different industries. So we've been able to help people gain internship placement, paid internship placement with this organization. So in terms of success rate, that is how we've been able to do that. But right now, with the current cohort that we just started, which is the first cohort for this structure and model that we have ongoing, so it's been us preparing them with the different sessions that we've been having, the projects they've been working on, and everything regarding getting them ready for when they will start applying for jobs. And one of the structures we have in place is the fact that there gets to a point during your internship where one of the things you have to do and must do is to start applying for jobs consistently, because we believe that the reason why you're taking up this internship is to apply for jobs. So as you're working on projects and you're working on tasks, which is your daily activity when you join stand up and everything, part of the things you need to also do as assigned to you is to apply to not less than 5 jobs in a day, right? That's how we also get to test, because that's how you get to go into your interview. That's how we prepare with you. That's how we do all of these things. So these are ways that we help prepare our interns. By the way, we don't use the word interns, we use consultants, because they are working with us closely to consult with organizations that are our business partners. So I don't know if I have answered your question, but we've had interns that we've placed on internship, paid internship, by the way. Some of them have subsequently been retained as full-time staff members across film tech, across healthcare, across ed tech, and all of that. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, MM. Hi, MM. Are you there? Hey, I can't hear MM. Okay, so Irene, I see your question. So like I said, you can pay in 3 installments, right? So 3 installments allows you to pay bit by bit. So you can just take a look at the link my colleague dropped and use it to browse and check out the platform. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the session. I want to see if we have more questions. Thank you all so much for joining the session. It's been amazing. If you have more questions, please ask, and I'd love to respond to it. Like I said, I dropped my number in the chat. Feel free to send me a message and I will also respond to you if you have any question to ask and all of that, right? So just